Welcome back. We're in Book of Samuel 1, and we just finished learning about the meeting, the second meeting, I believe, second or third meeting at this point, of David and Shaul. Shaul has invited David to return back because he says, I realize that you are not my enemy. David refuses in a nice manner to go back, and they depart from each other. So now what happens is in chapter 27, verse 1, it says, Vayomer David alibo. David says to his heart. In other words, he thinks to himself. He has what we call a cheshbon nefesh. He starts to wonder, what should I do here? After all, the first time I was with the king and I wanted to show him I was not his enemy. What I did was I cut off a piece of his cloak. And I showed him that I could have killed him. And at that point, he seemed to be, my friend said, I love you, and so on and so forth. And what happened then was he chased after him. He gave chase after a little while. So then, the second time, he has the spear and the water bottle, I believe it was. And once again, showing that he could have killed Shaul. And so Shaul again says, I love you, David, return with me. And David does not, as we know. And now he's thinking to himself, if I stay anymore, what's going to happen is Shaul could decide through people inciting him or because Hashem is in him, whatever the reasons are going to be, he could come after me again. So in order to avoid that, he has a plan. He says, Ata esaper yom echad. It may be that I fall into his hands via Shaul. I don't want to perish by the hands or the power of Shaul. Ein li tov. It's not good for me. Except ki himaleit el eretz Pelishtim. Except that I should escape to the land of the Pelishtim. V'noach mimeni Shaul levaksheni. So then Shaul will despair of searching after me anymore. B'chol gevul Yisrael, and all the land of Israel, all the border of Israel, and I will be saved from his hand, or again from his power. So his plan is to leave Eretz Yisrael, which incidentally is interesting, because what was his main complaint against Yoav and people who were inciting Shaul against him? It was that they want me to leave Israel, and go to a land of idolatry, because we learned the last time that if you're living in Israel and then you make your rida, you leave Israel to live someplace else, it's considered as if you are an idol worshiper. You're not really an idol worshiper, but you're just abandoning your homeland where Hashem told us we should be. So once you're, as it were, running away from Eretz Yisrael, it would be like an idolater. Again, you're still 100% a full Jew, and you're still obligated to do all the mitzvot, even in Galut. But that is the concept that if I'm going away from Eretz Yisrael, it's as if I would be an idolater. So here you have David, who was using that. Again, if you go back to just the past chapter, he was using that as a rallying call for Shaul to forgive him. And of course, Shaul does. And now you see that he's saying, it's better for me to leave Israel. Now the question is going to be why he's doing this, and we'll come to that in a little while. But nonetheless, his first reason that he thinks in his heart, he thinks himself as a good excuse, is that Shaul will cease to seek after him, and he won't have to worry about being trapped or killed. And again, we have this concept of ein somchen al hanes. You should not rely upon a miracle. And even though Hashem was helping him all of these times, and he knew that Hashem was going to make him king, he figures, if maybe I sin in some manner, so then Hashem will punish me. So I want to escape from all of that. I want to get myself into a good situation. So what happens? Verse 2. Vayakam David got up. V'yavorhu, and he goes. Who goes with him? V'sheish me'od ish asher imo, and the 600 men who were with him. And who do they go to? El Achish, to Achish ben Maoch, the son of Maoch, Melech Gat, to the king of Gat. Again, you have a tremendous question here. Why did he go to Gat? The last time he was in Gat, he had to feign insanity, because they said David is here, the guy who's been the general who's been killing us. Achish wanted to kill him, so David feigned insanity, so that Achish would look at him and say, "This guy is not David HaMelech. He's a nut. He's drooling. He's no good." So, and he escaped. So now, why is he coming back? The answer is because he's not coming alone. He's coming with 600 men. And we'll see with their families and so on and so forth. So he's coming with a force. So he's no longer afraid of being killed. He's come army for army. And he's going to say to Achish, let's join up together to fight the common enemy, which is Shaul. How is his common enemy? He's going to tell him that Shaul is not how do you say it? Nivash. He's no longer in Shaul no longer holds David in favor. So since he's no longer holding David in favor, so therefore it's as if Shaul is a common enemy. So that's how he's going to convince him. We don't hear that in the text, but that's how he convinces him to let him join and to let him join up with Achish. He also is, and this is the next verse, Gimel, Vayeshev David im Achish begat. So David lived. Again, it's not Gor. He didn't Vayagar. He didn't come to sojourn. Nothing. He came to live there. Vayeshev David im Achish begat. He lived with Achish in Gat. Who? V'anashav Ishu Beto. He and his men and their wives, their whole family. David came Ushtei Nashav with his two wives, Achinoam and Abigail be'eshet Navala Carmelit, and Abigail is the daughter, the wife, the former wife of Navala Carmelit. So here, what really got to Achish, according to the rabbis, was he saw the entire families moving down. So this is not just a way to get into somebody's good graces. You're actually moving. You're taking everything with you. So that showed permanency. So Achish felt that he understood from the gesture that this was a good move for him, because here he's getting the general who knows Israel's army, who knows all of their tricks. This is a great alliance. So it's well worth it for him. And now what happens? The next verse, Dalit, Vayugad Shaul. So it was told to Shaul, Ki varach David got, that David fled to God, not moved, fled. Lo yasaf od levaksho. He no longer sought after him. He no longer went searching after him. That's it. He was done. Now verse 5. So David, by the way, accomplished his mission. He didn't want Shaul to have to pursue him anymore. He wanted to be saved, as it were. So now the verses are telling us that his plan worked perfectly. So verse 5. V'yomer David el Achish. So now David says to Achish, if I find favor in your eyes, yitnu li makom, give me a place, not just any place. I want a particular thing. Ba'achat arei hasadeh, in one of the cities of the fields. So the country towns, they translate that. Ve'ish v'sham, and I will dwell there. Now, he's asking for an interesting thing. He's asking for a country town. He's not asking for a walled city, because he knew that if he would ask for a walled city, then Achish would suspect, correctly, by the way, that he was going to rebel against Achish. So in order to avoid that, he says, give me a field. And what's his reason to want to go there instead of staying in the main city? Why should your servant, he's being very nice with his language and very humble, why should your servant live in the city of royalty with you? It's not befitting the king. That otherwise people will maybe consider you competition. You don't want that. So why don't we make good right away? You all give me a place on the countryside, and I'll be good. Great. So what happens? Verse 6. Vayiten lo Achish bayom ahu et Ziklag. So that day, Achish gave him the city of Siklag, and that's and it's here the rabbis say that I see. It's a parenthetical statement. Lachain hayit at Siklag. This place called Siklag was belonging to the Malchi Yehuda, to the kingdom, to the kings of Yehuda ad Yom Hazeh, until the day of this writing. Again, some people say that's Jeremiah writing this. So the question is, why is the statement needed? Because Siklag was in the area of Naphtali originally, and that was taken over by the Philistines. And then what happened was, I'm just trying to figure out where, see where it is. It was given over to the city. Like I said, the Philistines took it over, and then what happens is since the king gave it to David, it became the kings, or the line of David, which is a kingdom, the royalty. It becomes their land forever. So that's how we're setting this up. Now, the reason, I'll give you a leader for next week. The reason that David is doing this is because he wants to be in a place where Achish will not see all of his actions. Because even though he has come to Achish and says, I want to join you to fight against our common enemy, namely Shaul and the Jews, because they're the ones who kicked me out, basically. So now he really doesn't want to do that. He really wants to be fighting from inside. So he's going to destroy the enemy from within. So that's why he has to live on the outskirts. So while he attacks other places, Achish would not know about it as well as if he would have lived in the city. So as we go on, we'll see how this works. Thank you very much for listening. Again, if you enjoy this, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and thank you very much.